Acting Chair Bumbeck,
Here.
Secretary Sienna,
Here.
Carolyn Candelora,
Here.
Marcy Nafrio,
Here.
Shauna Papaholzer,
Here.
Sarah Querfeld,
Here.
Lynn Reardon.
Here.
If we could please stand to salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we begin, I'd like to welcome officially Shauna Papaholzer. She was here last month. I'm not sure if we welcomed you officially, so welcome. Carolyn Candelora, welcome. And Lynn Reardon, welcome. I'm not sure if anybody would like to tell a little bit about yourselves. I don't want to put you on the spot or if you're good to go, but thank you for joining us.
I second that. And then I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda of the Thursday, October 18th, 2017 Board of Education meeting to add organization of the board.
Is there a second? Second. Discussion? Roll call?
Acting Chair Bumbeck,
Yes.
Secretary Sienna,
Yes.
Carolyn Candelora,
I'll stay. I wasn't here for that.
So it's modifying the agenda for today to reorganize.
Oh, okay, then yes.
Marcy Nafrio,
Yes.
Shauna Papaholzer,
Yes.
Sarah Querfeld,
Yes.
Lynn Reardon.
Yes.
And I make a motion to add discussion and action regarding organization of the board.
Second.
Okay, under discussion, I would just like to explain that by our bylaws, we are required to do this because our chair has resigned. The chair elected tonight will only be a one-month chair because, again, by the bylaws, we need to reorganize after the official November election.
Okay, do we do that now or is there?
You take nominations now and we vote on it.
I nominate Diane Bumbeck for chair. Second.
I nominate Sarah Griffin.
I second that.
Any other nominations? Discussion? Do we do roll call or do we go straight to vote?
I do a roll call.
In terms of, I thought if there
No, it's
was,
a paper vote.
Paper vote?
It's a paper vote by bylaws.
Okay. You want me to, I've got paper. I have paper. I've got another.
is there a discussion?
Well, I mean, at this point, I think we should Sarah, I think we should let,
Us each speak?
yes.
Oh,
Okay, that's fine. We'll let you go first because you're the acting chair.
okay. So I didn't know that this was going to happen. I was under the impression that this would happen next month. I would be interested, thank you for nominating me, I'd be interested to continue the next month as acting, or chair. I've learned a lot through this, but I do want to say that I think I'm fair and impartial. I take everybody's point of view into consideration. Nobody's ever said that I had a personal agenda or influenced by others, because I'm not. And I hope that you will support me moving forward, because I'm all about doing what's best for the children.
Okay, thank you. I also would like to be considered for chair of the Board of Education here. I believe that my past experience makes me an ideal candidate at this point in time. I have a lot of experience as a superintendent of schools. There is nothing more important to me than ensuring that the children of North Branford have the same opportunities as the children in surrounding similar towns. And I am committed to that. And as far as being impartial and fair, I have a long track record of being impartial and fair. I dedicated probably 15 years of my life teaching in North Branford, between substituting, teaching high school English for many, many years, being a reading consultant at Stanley T. Williams, and then when my husband got ill, downsizing from superintendent, coming back as director of curriculum. And I'm just very committed to seeing this board become transparent, to making certain that every member on this board has the same information, to make certain that we're not waiting for months to have the answers to questions given to us. And I think that's it.
Okay, so we can give you, oh, good.
I mean, I too have some serious concerns about transparency. I'm very, very new to the game, but I have been doing a lot of research. I have seen a lot of past emails going around, and I do have concerns about you as board chair, Sarah, based on some of these emails that have come from your private home. You know, I do want what's best for the children here in North Branford, and I would like to be sure that that is indeed the case, but based on what I have seen so far, I have some very major concerns.
I just feel like there's a lot of micromanaging going on, and I think it's very important that we have a workshop much sooner rather than later with the attorney to go over roles and responsibilities, because I'm seeing a lot of micromanaging going on. I can reference some, but I prefer not to.
Okay, are we all set with discussion? If everybody can make their choice on a paper ballot? Does this go to Mary too?
No, you can open them and just...
Give it to Mary.
You're acting chair, so you can open them.
Is the
No, you
procedure
want to
to...
open them? You can open them.
You're the acting chair for a moment.
Four, three, Sarah, congratulations, and do we switch chairs?
I don't think we need.
Okay.
I'll just grab your gavel. But
Good luck.
I do want to assure the members that didn't support me that I will be certain that everything is transparent. I will
Starting
make
now, because
certain-
5 minutes ago you weren't transparent, because you could have informed us that that was going to
Correct.
happen. I just want to say that, because you just, sitting in here, you said, are you ready? I support that.
I sent
but
you an
wasn't
email
prepared.
yesterday about the reorganization.
I
You
did not
said-
get it.
You answered, or it was a text, you answered it. I said, I haven't seen a revised agenda with ECA, the hearing officer, and the reorganization. And you said you had taken care
Oh, I
of it.
didn't
and
see
that
the
was your plan.
reorganization.
It was on there.
Okay, I'll go back and look.
All right, but anyway, thank you. Okay, visitors, comments limited to the agenda. Seeing no visitors, we'll move on to our student representatives.
College admission personnel have been visiting NBHS throughout the month of September and October, with 25 representatives total this month. The annual financial aid application workshop took place on October 4th with 2 sessions scheduled, 5 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. In conjunction with the 2 aforementioned items, NBHS is supporting seniors with the college application process, with support sessions being offered throughout the month of October following the scheduled school day. On Tuesdays, English teacher and Dean of Students, Mrs. Lee, is working with students on their college essays. The NBHS Guidance Department is hosting support sessions for completing the common application on Wednesdays during the month of October.
All NBHS grade 9, 10, and grade 11 students completed the PSAT testing on Wednesday, October 11th during the scheduled school day. Seniors attended classes as scheduled, with classes relocated to the first floor to accommodate for testing room needs. Alan Bernstein of the College Board visited North Branford High School on October 17th and met with the NBHS data team. Mr. Bernstein met with school administration a number of years ago and inquired recently about visiting North Branford High School once again. During the meeting, current strategies were discussed, including the use of PSAT, SAT data reports, and Khan Academy.
19 members of the North Branford High School music program performed in the Shoreline Music Festival at Coggins-Shock High School on October 12th. 10 instrumentalists and 9 vocalists were a part of this annual event that showcases the best musicians of the 12-member conference.
NBHS sponsored a hurricane relief toiletry drive during the month of October. Collections were by advisory groups, with the advisory collecting the most items treated to a breakfast prepared by building administration. Mrs. Danner's advisory team won the competition.
The U.S. Marine Corps Band performed on September 28th for NBHS Concert Band and Jazz Ensemble. Students were provided to pose many questions between selections, with students inquiring about the military, service, and music.
NBHS athletic programs have continued with a successful fall season with field hockey, girls soccer, football, boys soccer, volleyball, and cross-country teams all progressing nicely. During the home cross-country meet on October 3rd, a dedication ceremony was held in memory of longtime North Branford High School cross-country coach Floyd Parness.
Thank you very much. And it is okay for you to go home if you need to do homework.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys.
All right, moving on to the minutes. I do know that there are some corrections to be made, so I don't know. I guess we'll make the corrections first, and then we'll have the motion, or do you want? I guess we can do the motion first and withdraw it if you want. So, to approve the minutes of the September 21st, 2017 Board of Education meeting as submitted. I need someone to.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay. I have some corrections. It was a very difficult meeting to record, and I think that Patty did a wonderful job, but I'd like to make the following corrections. Under H, ACES, Educational Center for the Arts, lines 9 and 10.
Do you have a page
Do you do
number?
the page number?
I do. I'll find that for you. Okay.
Under committee reports?
Oh, page 6?
6 or 7?
6. I'm going to find it. It's under H.
6.
H. Okay, so it's at the top of page 6. We're looking at lines 9 and 10. They should read, Member Queerfeld will check at the ACES meeting to see if parents are allowed to pay tuition. Removing the word partial. There was a lot of discussion about partial, but that wasn't in what I was going to do. Okay, so that's the first change, and then under new business. I'm not going to put in commas and things, but under, let's see, line 18 should read, if the superintendent felt, that would be page 8 of 11. If the superintendent felt that someone should be expelled and 3 board members decided it should not happen. And in the next line where it says we can't censor members for speaking out of turn with executive session, it's the opposite. It's can. We can censor. Okay? And then,
Did you get the first one?
No.
did you need the line item for that?
I got it.
No, it's 2 above what you just said, right?
It's like, where I said it's right
That
after
someone
if
should
the
be, when
superintendent,
those 3
right?
people
Right.
decided it should not
It-
happen.
It's the line that begins brains and
Yep.
hearts to decide what was best for this child. We can censor members if they
Yeah.
speak out of turn about executive session matters. On page 9, line 4, I want to change where it says, but so we can have transparency on the finance board, I want to change on to with. 3 lines down, the end of the line, we have to be, instead of credible, C-R-E-D-I-B-L. And then finally, in talking about the lawyer, it would be the line saying, it starts on notice, it says having a decisive lawyer is setting us up for trouble. It should be divisive. Divisive, having a divisive lawyer is setting us up for trouble. And,
So right underneath that as well.
right, so both I'm sure spell check just, did that. So it should be divisive in the following line too. Are there other corrections that need to be made? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote.
Well, then I'll change my motion to accepting the minutes as amended.
As amended, thank you. We need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, and do you want a roll call on this, or just all in favor?
I decided what minutes I was going to do all in favor.
All in
But because
favor?
you made changes, it's up to you.
Yeah, we'll do all in favor unless
Yeah,
anyone objects
I
to
agree.
that. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining?
Aye.
Okay. Carolyn and Lynn, because they were not here last time. Under personnel, resignations, none at this time. Appointments, none at this time. Under leaves, Scott.
We can go into executive session. to discuss.
Okay. Okay, and then we're moving on to the superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you. Well, for new board members, welcome. And I also want to recognize Tucker TV, who is also here this evening. They will be filming our board meetings in conjunction with our students that we're working together. So I want to welcome them. You'll notice additional microphones on the table as well. The ones that you do not recognize are the ones from Tucker TV. Okay, so if you're clicking or tapping now, they're going to pick up on it. I'm just giving you in the morning. Board briefs are attached. There's pages of accomplishments, things that have been happening in the district. There's been a great deal of outreach with hurricane relief. A lot of our student groups have been doing a great deal of fundraising, food collections in the various buildings, and really pitching in and helping those in need. So we're certainly proud of their efforts. So I'm sure you had the time to read through or just take a look at your briefs from the school. And if there's any questions at this time, the administrative team is here. If you have a specific question, we always give you the opportunity to ask.
Mr. Steffler, does your school still do pep rallies?
What we've done is we've transitioned to
Would you like this?
a Thunder Center event, which in place of a pep rally gives the video classes an opportunity to do a highlight film, if you will, or model sports center on ESPN of the entire fall sports season, winter sports season, and spring sports season. And what we've done is historically presented that to 2 grades at a time in the auditorium. And with Mr. Delizio, what we've been able to do is interview most head coaches, captains, and then show highlights. So it really is, in my opinion, an opportunity for all the students and all the programs to get recognition and truly see what happens from the start of the season to the end of the season, in place of a noise fest, if you will, which can be celebratory but also can have its limitations and issues. So
That sounds like a good idea.
that's what we've done in the past, I believe, going on 4 years now. And there is some discussion that we've had with members of the student council and the student council advisors, like developing another event outdoors in conjunction with the Thunder Center, and the kids are going to spin back to me with their advisors with a proposal.
That sounds fun.
So just leading up to Friday night's football game, this has been Spirit Week. So there's been a number of activities at the high school where students are able to dress in costumes. Today was red, white, and blue, and they have a chance to stand in the front of the building and do selfie shots. But then those pictures then go to the yearbook. So there's a lot of collaboration going on for the students, and I do want to echo the field day at the beginning of the year was changed from the end of the year to the beginning, where all of the students came together and had an opportunity to bond and do team building. So it is a little different look than a pep rally, but I don't want you to think that there's not a lot going on to build the morale.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just was just asking. I hadn't really seen much about it in the briefs over the last couple of years, and I was meaning to ask.
Any other questions?
Field trips?
Field trips. We have 2 field trip requests. They are in-state. They're ones that we take each and every year. Jen Tetzel, our language department leader and chair at the high school, is requesting permission for a trip to New York City. They'll be visiting Ellis Island and the United Nations Visitor Center in New York City on December 7th, which is Thursday of this year. And the second is a trip to Boston, Massachusetts. The 8th grade class has been doing that for years. We have approximately 140 students going on that field trip. And I believe they tour Fenway Park.
Yes.
Fenway Park and Dog Tour, some of the trails. And it's very well received. It's been a great trip for our kids, so I support both of those trips. Any questions on the trips? You do not need, there's not out of country or overnight, so you don't need a board vote, but if you have any specific questions about those 2 trips.
I do just have a question for clarification. Is there a mileage if it's over 100 miles, then you need board, or 500 miles or something like that?
Usually we
If it's
go
100 miles?
overnight.
So not a mileage?
Certainly out of country. I think if we went to Florida with the band, you're going to vote to approve because it satisfies both the overnight and the distance of the trip.
Okay.
But for trips like this that are day trips, we do put the kids on a coach bus in both situations because of the distance, for obvious reasons, comfort and safety. They do return in the evening. I'm guessing the Massachusetts trip returns by 10 o'clock or so. At 9 o'clock at night. So. Okay. Without further ado, I know Dr. Welch is here. You saw some of the presentation for our policy 1400 on safe schools, and there's a PowerPoint, and I'm sure Dr. Welch would set up. Now, this is data that has been compiled from the entire district through teacher surveys that roll into their SLOs. And you are aware that with PBIS we do a great deal of intervention for our students, trying to build spirit, morale, safety, a sense of belonging in the buildings, not only for our students, but all of our staff as well. And that's what Dr. Welch will touch upon this evening.
Perfect. So I do apologize. Typically during the spotlight, you get the pleasure of seeing students perform for you or do something that's more interactive and fun. So unfortunately, with our extra visitors, you're stuck listening to me. But I am talking about school climate, something that I'm very passionate about, something that I do believe is very important, and something that is ingrained in the fabric of North Branford schools. So safe school climate expectations really comes at us from a couple of angles. One is the policy angle that we have to deal with. Safe school climate and bullying. And some of the measures that policy asks us to do is make it a part of school improvement, have proactive and consistent steps for dealing with issues of bullying and meanness from students. We train our staffs and students annually around these expectations. And that there's a district coordinator in place, that's me for the district, and then each building has a safe school climate coordinator. Each building also has a team that's made up of teachers, a parent, students if it's appropriate, age appropriate, and that team talks about how the school is dealing with school climate, talks about the issues of bullying if they are coming up. And new to this policy in this year and last year being just introduced is the idea of teen dating violence, and that's an important aspect that middle school and high school need to incorporate. What does it mean for the schools? I kind of alluded to that. So you have a school coordinator, you have a team in place. You train the staff each year around the procedures for addressing and reporting bullying. And then you as a school need to communicate to parents and students about those procedures so they know what to do if there's an incident or something comes up. They know where to go and where to turn, and that includes anonymous reporting. We have building-based improvement plans where school climate is a major portion of that. It's not just around academic expectations. And then our student learning objectives for teachers and for the whole school do have a parent and student portion where their voice, their feedback weighs into how you're being evaluated, and I'll talk more about that. which includes some of our surveying, which I'll show you in a minute. So what does North Branford do? We have goal 2 of our strategic plan, which you've seen before if you've been to a board meeting, and if you've seen the strategic plan, that is all about safe school climate and what we're doing as a district. It's a foundation of building improvement plans, like I said, so each school does address it and does talk to their teachers about it on a consistent basis. We have a district-wide initiative, which many districts do and many states do, called PBIS, which stands for Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports. That's a whole school approach that's really about teaching students positive expectations, recognizing and rewarding them for when they do things the right way, and changing kind of the adult focus to catching them doing the right thing and not being punitive when students are doing something that's not the expectation. So that's taught to our students through advisory at the upper levels or through an assembly classroom focus at the younger levels. We definitely infuse school climate into our curriculum with programs such as Second Step and Ruler, which are explicitly teaching conflict resolution, making friendships, things like that that are age appropriate. We have instruction that is pushing our teachers to kind of include social emotional learning, character education, a climate focus, as well as collaborative learning, so students are engaging with each other at all times and learning how to navigate that. And at the upper levels, our 21st century skills are infused with a lot of climate expectations as well. In North Branford and all of our schools, as you know, community involvement is a big piece. It's important to us. There are a lot of community-wide events that our students participate in. And leadership training is something that every school is also believes heavily in, with its student senate or student council. And even at our younger ages, we are working on that with students as young as first grade and how to develop leadership and be a part of their school. A critical component that I believe strongly in, and I know the rest of the buildings do, that adult modeling of expectations. So the way that we get students to behave, yes, it's explicit teaching, but a lot of it is around modeling, the way that we want them to behave and the way that they see us interacting with each other as adults. So those are critical components. I have 2 slides here. One gives you a little bit of numbers to kind of look at the approach, and the numbers that you're seeing, incident trends means those kinds of discipline issues, those things where students are getting in major trouble, we would call it. So what we looked at across the past 3 years, kind of what is the result of positive climate on just strict discipline and students getting in trouble, we see a pretty strong decline. So the high school over that time is down 40% of those incidences. NBIS is kind of holding steady, a little uptick, but holding steady. TVS is down slightly, and Jerome down majorly. The reason there that you see in a K-2 school, it's rare to have an incident of a major discipline incident. So if there was 1 in 1 year and then 0 the next, it's percent-wise comes out that way.
So you're saying that we should send some of the kids back to Jerome to get 100% down? Or?
There you go. I might agree with that. I don't know if that.
It's not that easy, right?
No. So outside of the numbers, of course, climate is a lot about some of the other stuff that you can't measure so well with data. Some of the things that we feel proud about that are about positive school climate, Jerome Harrison has exemplary school climate distinction from Connecticut Association of Schools. Jerome Harrison and TVS have been recognized by CAS as well for the Dream Team program and for their efforts with leadership. The NBIS and the high school, awards from organizations throughout the state, whether it's CIC or CAS, for Best Buddies, Unified Sports, Sportsmanship, their efforts with student leadership and student council, community events such as the Big Give. I thought it was important to note that throughout the schools, annually we typically do fundraise at around $75,000, which is pretty impressive for a community that's not so affluent as some communities that you might see down in Fairfield County. And that's twofold. So a lot of our efforts are around education and making students awareness of their lives outside of North Branford to the greater community. And a lot of school-to-school partnerships, you've seen that here, you've heard about it through board event briefs, that students from the elementary schools are often visiting NBIS and NBHS, and likewise, students from those schools are supporting and helping in our elementary schools. And the Capstone IPP project presentation that happens in May is another great event that showcases our students kind of on the way out as they get ready for college, some of their community connections, and another kind of evidence of positive school climate. So the survey piece, and some of that came from some board members asking about it previously at a meeting is kind of what do we do for surveys, what does it look like? And our teachers, our students, our parents in the community who are involved with schools know because they get these surveys sent to them each year from administration. And we do that each spring, usually in March or April. The questions, some of them are prescribed from the state so the state can look at trends across districts and schools. Some of them are school-based and some of them are based on the improvement plan, which I'll show you a little bit of. And we send those out to families through email, social media. We have students take them while they're in school. And when that information comes back, each building coordinator kind of analyzes that information and helps to inform those improvement plans that we've talked about. What I wanted, and hopefully if it works, I'm going to link right into a survey here so you kind of see, you haven't seen what it looks like for, it'll work for us, okay. So here's this example of a parent one from Jerome Harrison. So a parent would get this, they would click on this through their email link and then they could go in, start to answer some of the generic questions, and just continue to go through. I'm not going to do the whole thing for you, but some of them, just so you see, are basic questions about socioeconomic status, background. Then you'll see questions like, my child likes to come to school each day, and it gives you the opportunity to add an open-ended comment as a parent or guardian. And then there are other questions such as number 4 there, I feel the school is physically safe, and you can, you know, in the classroom, playground, cafeteria, obviously an elementary focus here versus a secondary. And we ask parents things about their perceptions of how the school is. We ask them their perceptions of how they're treated in the school. And I'll try and thumb through these a little bit quicker. Peer treatment, adult connections. Are the school expectations clear? Does the school support opportunity in learning? School personnel, do they model the expectations the school is trying to teach? And then some of these are state required questions about incidences of bullying and things like that. Do students have a connection, extracurricular activities? Have they been a target of hurtful communication? Procedures, does the school communicate effectively, etc. And we go all the way down, and then typically toward the end you give them the opportunity to identify some strengths and weaknesses about the school so that you get that feedback and an opportunity to voice any additional kind of concern that they may be having. So that's what a survey looks like. It's quick, it doesn't take too long, and parents have the opportunity to provide as much information or as little as they want. They can just objectively do it. What I provided for you here were just a few snapshots from each of the building to kind of see positive school climate in place. So that idea of connecting t-shirts, making you feel a part of the community, we feel that's important for students at a young age. Showing them that, you know, they may be in kindergarten or second grade, but they're still part of that greater community as a school. Assemblies coming together, teaching social expectations. This one doesn't come out too well in the bright here, but that's a night event at Jerome Harrison. It's a movie night where families come, they have picnic dinners on blankets out in the field and enjoy a company together and then watch a movie together. It's well attended, a popular event with parents and students. Another example of kind of a whole school assembly around positive climate. Students just feeling connected and happy about their school, where they are. Students working on a project together, some kind of community service. NBIS students in their field day experience, working together with their teachers and staff outdoors. Again, that effort on team and community building, students together at NBIS again. Same, a look at the high school students and teachers together. So again, seeing that theme of connection, pride in their school, and those adults and students working together and not necessarily just in classrooms, but outside. Again, this is another one from the high school, participating in field type games and activities. The sports team, we know that's very important in North Branford at the high school level. I've selected the field hockey team there. We know that they go above and beyond with kind of their efforts in the community with service and with fundraising and outreach. So that's an important part of being a T-Bird. And then this one was the recent, a couple weeks ago, where we hosted in North Branford a student leadership conference for our youngest students, K through 5, and we had some other neighboring districts come and share what they're doing for student leadership. Our high school students were involved in running some sessions with our youngest students. So again, that connection to the community, giving back and feeling a part. So with that said, where does that take us? So as I said, each school team looks at the survey data and they come up with goals that will kind of be an area of focus for the upcoming year. So what I've laid out for you here for this current school year, each school has identified an area that they're targeting from that survey. So Jerome Harrison is looking at student safety, at recess cafeteria, kind of that supervision and safety piece. Totucket is looking at community building and establishing that safety and security. NBIS, positive peer relationships, fair treatment and respect. And at the high school, that communication to parents and students regarding instruction and programming. So those goals are determined from the feedback that we're getting from stakeholders through the surveys. And so the two slides that I'm kind of going to leave you with, I think I didn't identify what school climate is in the beginning because I wanted to kind of emerge through what I was saying, but to really define it, it's that vibe or feeling you get when you walk into the school. You know when it's there and you know when it's not there. It's how the staff and the students, the community interact and feel. It's about adult behavior a lot. It's about student behavior a lot. It includes that connection to the building. It's challenging and it engages and supports students so that they feel that school is as much theirs as it is anybody's who's working there. And then just a summary for you, it continues to be an area of importance in North Branford. I think we're lucky to work in a district like that where it is stressed and it is important. It's a part of our strategic plan, one of the major 3 goals. It's in part of Scott's leadership. It's something that is valuable to him. It's something that he talks about when he meets with us. It's something that I know is important to him when he comes into a building. And I can say that safely of all of the principals in place, that it's something they believe in heavily, and it's something that their leadership imparts on the rest of the building and their students. PBIS, when I said before, circle, pride, rocks, and kind are those social expectations that are in place in each one of the schools. And to summarize, that's my belief at the bottom, that it's really the foundation of school improvement, of a successful school, of students and of the community. And without that, I don't think that you ever get to the academic growth that you would hope for in a district. So this is what it's about. This is the foundation. And with that in place, that's when a school can take off. So I hope you found that somewhat informative. I hope it gave you a snapshot of what climate's about and the heavy emphasis we place on it and the value we put in from the feedback we get from our stakeholders. So, and I know board members, you got an extra packet from the meeting beforehand. So I appreciate your time. Thank you for allowing me to speak about climate.
Any questions for Dr. Welch or any of the administrators here tonight? I know it was obviously very informative and our abilities to reach all students. For our students to learn has to be obviously in a safe, comfortable, positive environment, and that starts with all of our administrators and teachers, and it's a trickle-down effect to all of our students. So I commend Dr. Welch and all the administrative team for their efforts.
What would be the percentage of parents that participate in this survey?
Stolen question.
That's
Yeah,
a great
well,
question.
yeah.
I would say it varies from year to year and it varies from school to school.
Right.
We typically have pretty good participation, usually over 50% for each building. Higher in the elementary schools, a little bit lower when you get to the middle and the high school. But we're typically around 50%. A little dip this past year with the high school, but typically they're up there with us.
When it comes back to Survey Monkey, I meet with Dr. Welch and we sit and go through and disaggregate all the information. There's comments and things, and that all leads into the evaluation of the administrative team as well as part of their SLOs.
Do you trend each question to see if there's any patterns?
Yes.
Is there any way to combine all 3 surveys into one? Like I had 3 kids at 3 different schools, so I was taking that survey 3 times. Is there any way to?
I should give you my thought on that. I don't want to steal yours. My children's, the district that they're in, it is one survey and it's sent to parents. I believe that it's really important to have a school focus. As a principal, I want to see it really broken down to some things that are important to our school in particular.
Yeah.
So that's my feeling on it.
Would there be any way to do a survey that can, so you're not answering everything all of, like for certain schools? Because I mean, I would maybe do one for the younger kids and I'm like, oh, well, these ones are older, I have time, I have.
Yeah.
I'm kind of busy, so, or you forget to do one, or I don't know if there's any way to combine to make it all, you know, specifics in like NBIS, and then specifics at the high school and.
Yeah, certainly something we can consider. I'll meet with the coordinators we meet often, so I can address that with them.
Thank you.
Sure.
All set.
Oh, no, second.
Okay. Next item on the topic for discussion is our National World Language Department becoming a chapter of the, for those of you who have had years of Spanish, this will want to help me out with the Sociedad of Maria Hispánica. You okay? It's been a lot of years. But we're thrilled to have the opportunity for our students to join this chapter. There's high standards to become a member of this honor society. On the next page, there's listed criteria with a 90 average or higher, currently enrolled in the Spanish class, you have to be in good standing, and you have to have the standards of the National Language Organization of AATSP. We are currently in the selection process, so it's raising the bar for our language program. It's something that the students who participate can put onto their resume to build their resume. There's a list of activities that the students partake in, numbers 1 through 5. I won't read through them, but it really, I think it assists in treating world language as a core class, as something that is critical to their foundation when they go to pursue either post-high school experiences or join the workforce. It gives that level of credibility. And I've said it here before, but being a high school of under 600 students with 4 languages, including Latin and Italian, is something that you all should be very proud of. So to bring this on the books per se, if we qualify and we are accepted, this is a nice coup for our language department.
I was delighted to see this because I think it's so important, and having been in systems where they had this set up, it just does wonderful things for the kids.
It honors them for their efforts, and there's quite a bit of rigor. Those of you who are familiar with advanced placement testing, and when you speak to numbers of kids who have participated in the AP Spanish assessment with the listening and writing portion of it, they say it's more difficult than, I won't say another subject area, but it's really intense. So this is something I think that really supports what we're doing.
And other languages have honor societies too.
Correct.
So down the road, we may look at
growing
Latin or.
It was a rigorous process. They had to apply. You have to apply for it. They want so many students involved in the program before you can to go through.
But this is a great start.
Great
start.
I have a quick question. Will this have any trickle-down effect to maybe the middle school where there's not a foreign language program currently?
Well, there is a program.
It's not
It's a matter of how do we grow that with the
Because this seems like
client.
such a nice program that can maybe trickle down a little bit. I'm not sure exactly how the teachers can make that happen, but I'm sure.
Mrs. Alvarez is the teacher who's working with the 8th graders too, and the advanced Spanish kids with the 8th grade who teaches at the high school. So that's a nice advantage of having her the advisor of the club.
Because really, if you catch them, the younger you catch them, the more interest they're going to have. My ex-husband is Austrian, so my kids were introduced to German very young, and it just makes such a world of difference having it introduced earlier and earlier so that they can really develop. So this is fantastic. It's so nice to see.
And I think it's important what Mr. Steffler just said, that Ms. Alvarez, she goes between 2 buildings, and as you are aware, and we have changed the scheduled times for classes and starting dismissal times so that they mirror each other. And we're seeing some of our abilities to share staff. So now, what do we have in the Spanish program? 50 students this year. So 50 of our 8th grade students are meeting and getting that rich experience. And our goal is to grow that. We've talked about it as we're looking at new board members. You haven't heard this, so I apologize. But we're looking to grow what we talked about in the past and being able to do it in a responsible way with whatever budgetary constraints we have, sharing those staff members that are 712 certified and being connected, which we are at the middle school and high school, that affords us that opportunity.
Are all 50 8th graders, or do you have some 7th graders and then 8th
I'm
graders?
saying 8th grade, right?
It's 8th grade.
50
Only 8th
graders.
grade. So we have 50 8th graders taking Spanish sequentially, and the others are
Full year.
being
Every other,
exposed to it.
yes.
And it's equivalent to Spanish
Right,
1
yeah.
that they're taking.
It's
So
high school
they do
credit.
go into Spanish 2, obviously, if they are successful.
So that's a good thing.
Okay.
Healthy food certification.
Healthy food certification.
Yeah, that's,
It's funny, we had the discussion earlier about, for its food service and challenges with meeting the requirements and some of the struggles that we do have with declining monies being generated from the program. This allows us to sell foods that are not on the healthy food list after school hours at events. So what that might look like is in the hallway at 2:15 when school is out, we have a small school store where we are able to sell Gatorade. Or during the day, we're not able to sell Gatorade. Or at an after-school event, a dance or something like that, we can sell beverage, sugar products, soda, candy bars, where we cannot sell anything like that during the academic day. So it's a way for us to boost our money.
revenues. All right, then I will ask for a motion to allow exemptions for food items that do not meet the Connecticut nutrition standards, provided that, one, the sale is in connection with an event occurring after the end of the regular school day or on the weekend, the sale is at the location of the events, and 3, the food items are not sold from a vending machine or school store.
So moved.
Second?
I second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call vote?
Acting Chair Querfeld,
Yes.
Secretary Sienna,
Yes.
Carolyn Candelora,
Yes.
Marcy Anafrio,
Yes.
Shauna Papaholzer,
Yes.
Lynn Reardon,
Yes.
Diane Vumbeck.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the list is student enrollment. This week, copies. Okay, so we're gonna hold on the enrollment piece. There was a video clip that was a part of the presentation that I went over. So if you want to play that enrollment, or play that video before we get to enrollment. Apologies.
Leading off of Carter's presentation with climate, and then circling with the enrollment. Monday and Tuesday was the 3rd annual T-Bird Fair at the high school. And the whole idea of the T-Bird Fair is to really market the high school to the current 8th graders. We know that we're in a climate now where there's a lot of choice for students, and we kind of invest a lot of time and energy in kind of showing the 8th graders everything that North Branford High School has to offer. Because sometimes I think it kind of gets taken for granted that just high school in town. So we ran that Monday and Tuesday. Half the 8th graders came on Monday, the second half came on Tuesday. Monday night we had parents of the 8th graders come. And they came to a presentation in the auditorium where they saw this. I'm going to show you guys this. They saw our promo video, which we created 2 years ago. And then they went to the gym and saw every club, every activity with student representatives and teachers representatives there as well. And they were able to interact, talk, and ask to see over the 20 clubs, the athletic teams, everything we had to offer. So it was really phenomenal. This is new. What we did was, in addition to our promo video, we did a parent promo video. So this is coming out from a parent perspective. And what's great about this is, we asked some parents just to come in, and it was unscripted, just talk about your experience. So we had some parents that had recent graduates, some parents that had students in school currently. So it was a really nice mix. And we just said talk and record it. So they talked for about 45 minutes to an hour, and we were able to make this really awesome video that parents saw before their promo video and gave them a really nice perspective. After you watch this, it's a great representation of our school. We do have a lot to be proud of. There's a lot of really good things that are happening in all the schools. And we're really proud of the high school and everything that we have to offer. And I think we're such a supportive school that there's a niche for everybody. The 8th graders that came all received a Bleed Purple t-shirt, class of 2022. If they wear it on Friday, the football game, they get it for free. So it adds a little bit of climate there as well. But the 8th graders were so excited And like all of them came with their parents Monday night, even if they came Monday during the day. And what was interesting is like on Monday during the morning, they were forced to sit down in front, but Monday at evening, they all ran into the front and all sat there, and they would just like grab their parents and just ran up to the school and look at this, look at this. So the excitement was really, really positive. But this video here is about 9 minutes, but we did cut it down to a 40-second commercial, which I think we should strategize on how we want to kind of use that. It's just a quick commercial. You might see these from other schools and other districts, but marketing the high school is something I'm very passionate about because I think we just have to get it out there. More than just a sign or more than just here's our pamphlet. It's really like a living thing that we try to do all the time. So I think you guys will like this. I don't know if I should shut the lights off or not. It might be helpful.
For such a small school, there is a lot, and there is something for everyone. I have not talked to one parent who has sent their kid from the middle school to the high school who are not happy to see that. The transition from middle school to high school was so simple, and for my other two, they just made sense. And they interact with middle school and high school a lot, so they really do have an easier path. You know, the ninth grade teachers really talked to us about what is expected and how they're going to help our children transition.
The Tea-Bird Fair in October, and I do remember my daughter coming as an 8th grader, and I came with her, of course, at night, and I was overwhelmed by the amount of clubs she enjoyed, and I thought to myself, I want to join all these clubs.
There's so much fun things to do. For such a small school, we do offer a lot of AP courses. You can go to some high schools and that are larger and they don't have that. But I do see our teachers really getting our kids ready for the AP test too. They just prepare you for those.
Attending North Branford allowed her the opportunities to excel and to stand out.
She got into every school she applied to. Every school, and they gave her money.
My daughter, my middle daughter, is a senior here now. She is really overwhelmed with the whole college process, and she's looking to her teachers for guidance counselors, I have to say, are really embracing her and guiding her through it at an individual level. And we have a small school, we need to do that.
And I found the transition tough. I mean, they're away from home, that part, but the academic part, they didn't really have a problem with the academic part.
Academic is awesome. He's confident right now that he's doing extremely well. But he also met a lot of people, so I think a lot of that has to do with building the character that he is today. And I think a lot of that came from high school, there's no doubt about it.
Very hard work. She's absolutely 100% said to me, Mom, I swear my mom went to North Branford really helped me. And she said, I wouldn't have been able to do that without being prepared. My college graduate, when she graduated, went to the superintendent, Mr. Schoolmaker, and he actually helped her get a job.
That's awesome.
He put her name, so, he told her a few places that he knew, were hiring, and she graduated with a degree in public health. She's working for the public health department.
It's been a great experience because it got my son to thinking, what do I want to do when I get out of high school? Where do I want to go? And he made a decision and he's going for it. And he's already in the partnership program at Gateway, which was offered to the seniors. And he's already got his road paved because he went to guidance, he went to the teachers, he started the capstone, and it's paved the way for where he wants to go and what he wants to do, and he's already doing it now in his senior year.
Teachers here really care about the students.
They do.
Compassion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's great about the school is the line of communication.
I have emailed teachers, and within an hour, I don't think I've ever had an experience with
Yeah, it's support services here. Not only for the parents, but for the kids. Yeah, it's a win-win for everybody because, you know, they really do support everybody, yeah, you know. Just that we've now taken that next step and everybody's out of the classroom. Everybody, we got one single learning management system, which is so important.
Love Chromebook? So, yes, as I think Google Classroom came up, and there's your Google Drive, your Google Docs, your Google Classroom, everything in one place. Now these kids can come home with it, for their homework, and everything is right there. And there's no excuse that, oh, I forgot my homework at school. That's on Google Classroom.
It's right here, right now.
Or you can do it right online.
Teachers use that as a classroom, so the kids go to the classroom and it's set up much more like a collegiate classroom. And that the teacher is using that technology that the kids are able to follow and engage and see.
Right. Nick took automotive in his freshman year and loved it. It was just a wonderful experience. And not only that, but in those classrooms, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, so it's just wonderful. You have kids that are driving and they're talking about their Jeeps and you know, changing tires. It's like, this is so cool. And then he also is doing the greenhouse right now, picking up crops and they're bagging everything up. And we got to experience that at open house. It's great. I went there at open house and they had all the onions. The kids just picked them. It's just wonderful. The kids are learning about, you know, growing their own food and you know, what it's all about. Where else are you going to do that? You know, that's right. It's a great experience. So it's great that they're offering these opportunities.
Our music and arts program are huge. I don't have kids in there, but I don't believe that.
Yeah, they're huge.
Really involved.
Is that UConn School of Music after graduating here and doing very well. And between the middle school and the high school teachers here, they pushed her, they helped her through the application and the audition. That's not to say every kid has to do a lot of things, but it helped her tremendously socially, getting to know people. And that's the key. You know, she loves student council, she was in Best Buddies, she plays multiple sports, she does a lot of things, and I don't know if she would have gotten that anywhere else.
We had a student section.
For soccer, girls came after her.
That's right. The football kids were there. They just support each other all the time. All the time. It's amazing.
The teachers were also trying to always say, what can I do for the children? They want to see our children succeed, to be able to have teachers go out of the box and implement something for the children that need the extra help. It's wonderful.
I feel that for the Branford school system is that foundation, at least for my children. It sounds like for all the children so far.
And yeah, everybody knows each other, and that's what we wanted. We wanted for our kids.
Remember when we used to tell our kids, don't judge a book by its cover, you should see this book by its
That's beautiful. I grew up here, which was actually a good thing and a bad thing. So there's a piece with me that we could get out of town, but then when I really thought about it, this is a really tight-knit community. There is that comfort level of knowing all the kids' parents by name and face.
Yeah, both my husband and I both grew up in town, but you know, it's home. It's that comfort feel that you get. Yeah. We were very so happy to have such a great experience.
They do believe verbal.
And the teachers, that's it. That's right.
You're encouraged to be involved, to take ownership. This is your school. It's your experience. It's what you make of it.
Like Branford High School, School of Excellence. It says it all.
That's great.
Well done, very well done. I just have a comment, and I don't know if this is appropriate or not, because I'm new. But the one thing that was missing missing, even when I went to the open house with Tommy last year, is you get all the activities, you get all the AP. We could not have found a better school for Christopher here. I mean, he was able to take AP classes as a sophomore. We looked into Xavier for him. He would not be able to take AP classes until he was a junior. That being said, even when I went to open house for Tommy, the words I wanted to hear is, we can help your son. And all I heard was, we have 4 levels. And nowhere in there did it say if there's peer tutoring, if there's any kind of extra, I mean, they mentioned extra help, but what kind of extra help? I mean, to me, all the extras is really good. It definitely adds to the school. It makes us different than a lot of the other schools having gardening. But that's one thing that hits home to me.
And that's really helpful for us because, I mean, we're always looking at how we can market it
And
better.
that's all I wanted to hear at open house. If I heard at all, there was somewhere for him to go. I was never a good student. Make it short, I'm not going to get personal. But we actually had kids on the National Honor Society who tutored us. So I had a senior as a freshman tutor me in science, who knew science. He was going to go to school for science. And he would come over my house, or we'd meet at the library. And that's what he did. And I don't know, I asked Chris, because he's in National Honor Society, if that's offered. And I know they have to have community service. But that really hits home to me, is where can they go?
Yeah. That's great, helpful for us, and it helps us. We did survey the 8th graders this year for the first time, and what I made the remark Monday night to the parents, I was blown away. That we asked the kids basically, where are you at? I mean, what are you thinking about? Why are you thinking about going someplace else? Are you thinking about going to North Branford? And what are you most interested in? What do you want the most? And overwhelmingly, the students responded, were most concerned about getting good grades and getting help in classes. Not sports was there, but not just I want to hang out with my friends. It was about, and for that focus on academic really helped us with the T-Bird Fair because we took that data. And this year we did speak more about the help and support that we have, and it doesn't, all walks of life. And we do have the entire event is student driven, and the students Chris actually walked kids around both days. With some other tour guides as well too. So we're always looking to help market a little bit better and improve everything, and that info helps us. So I know with enrollment, this is why we're doing this. So I think Tracy.
Mr. Woods, can you, just along those lines of the labs and what you're in with the language and math labs and
Sure.
example
As part of the SRB Act Tier 2, we started a literacy lab 3 years ago and a math lab 2 years ago. Our math lab teacher, I think, is in the audience here, John Branford, who did present last year on the math lab and the literacy lab. And those are targeted small instruction for students that may be on the cusp of being proficient on a certain score, and we're trying to give them a little bit of a boost. We serve about 50 students in literacy labs per year and about 50 students in math lab per year. It ranges between 8 and 10 students per term. So we run a different lab every term. We do have specific SAT prep in there. And I did present on it last year. The data, even though it's a small sample size, showed that the specific SAT prep was not as effective as just kind of weaving it into instruction. So we adjusted the way we do our literacy lab this year. That has been very well received. It was a change. It was a shift because the students are being taken out of their study halls, but the parents and the students have really seen the value in that. So that's just another way that we're able to service during the school day. And I know that we've talked a lot about how can we service more students during the school day. SAT prep, for example, if we offer that during the school day. So we're always trying to find ways to kind of have those academic interventions. And I know the Lit Lab and Math Lab have been pretty successful thus far. And we're really happy with those. We're expanding those as well. So.
And you should have them speak at open house, because I think the parents need to know that. That's all I was looking for.
Sure,
That's all I was looking for. I went into open house, and at Notre Dame, they were saying how they're going to help your kid. And I did not want to send my kid there. I believe in public schools. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go, and I'm going to listen to how they're going to help my kid. And never did it come out. And you have ways of doing it, but how are you going to sell me on it when that's what their selling point is there? And if, that gentleman was there to let us know, we would have known the steps to take. Because in high school, it's not elementary school. You're they're on their own. I want my kids to be advocates. I kind of want them to know where to go. But I can't direct them if I don't know where to send them.
All right, I have a question also. I'm hoping that this, which was magnificent, great job. I'm hoping that it will be shared on the public access TV.
And the promo video. It would be great if those
They're tied together. There's another part.
Yeah, because I think it's very important, not only for the kids we're recruiting, our 8th graders that we want to stay here, but also for the taxpayers to see all of the wonderful things going on in the school.
Right.
And I think that often they're just not aware of it. So I think this would be a wonderful
And
thing.
again, we have that as a 40-second commercial, which is
Yeah.
like really, really cool.
Yeah, so maybe,
I hope we can do that too.
We have to talk to TV here tonight.
but I'm sure if you send it over, we can
Okay.
have it there. That would
Just
be
to add
wonderful.
that
Thank
NHS
you.
does provide student-to-student tutoring, and I did mention it at our last meeting, so whenever we get a request, we will be able to do that. So that's something I would like to share with you.
Okay, thank you.
Then we'll move on to enrollment. Scott.
Wait, look, I just have one
Oh,
quick question.
sorry,
I'm sorry. Is that 40-second commercial available for?
I have it as a link, yep, as I know you usually put it, it's ready to go.
Okay. I mean, willing to, like, for everyone to see, like, you would be happy to send it? I would love to see that.
And I would just ask, is there a link on the website, you might have said this, for parents to view and to direct them to see this?
Yeah, on that. And
Yeah, I think we
I
want
think
to
that-
show, we want to show you this form first.
Oh, sure, sure,
I think
yeah.
we're ready to really get it out as much as.
Yeah, I do think the secret is starting to purposefully promote your schools, right? And I do see it in other districts, and that was great. That was a nice job.
And even on, Lynn and I are both visitors to North Branford Proud's little Facebook page, running it there, having it available there.
Social media is amazing.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
enrollment.
Enrollment, I'm going to pass the sheet around. At this time, it's the October enrollment, and it shows our student population at 1,775. Class size is pre-K.
Thank you.
All the way through grade 12. So trending towards, if you look at the 6th, 7th, 8th grade, 9th grade, the 140-ish mark, which will keep us right around that 600 mark. So there's nothing that really jumps out. We do have a couple of small classes. Our K enrollment was 106. We projected it to be 110. That can change. We're enrolling students as we speak this month, so it ebbs and flows. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Before we move on to committee reports, we need to amend the agenda. So I would like a motion to amend the agenda of the October 19th, 2017 Board of Education meeting. First, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Okay, then I need a motion to add item 8I, ACES Educational Center for the Arts, to the agenda for discussion and possible action.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? I'll add it to the agenda after the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay, the motion carries. The second motion I need to, I'll ask you to add to the agenda is a motion to add item 8J, use of hearing officer for discussion and possible action.
So moved.
Second?
Second. Whoever wants to give it a shot.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor of adding this to the agenda?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Sure, what do you want to add?
I wanted to make a motion to add item 9, negotiations, discussion and possible action regarding superintendent and the director of technology contract.
Okay, well, let's get a second first, then we'll discuss it.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Under discussion, I would like to ask that in fairness to the public and in keeping with transparency, we start putting changes of that nature on the agenda ahead of time, so people that might want to be here can be here. I was looking at past agendas, and I saw that in 2014, June 12th, 2014, the motion to move into executive session listed 3 different areas. One, I didn't bring my notes, but I can look it up for you. One, when you looked at it back in the agenda, was curriculum and instruction. The second was visitors and press, and the third was reduction in force. And that was what was on the agenda according to the minutes. But what actually happened was the reduction in force discussion and giving both the business manager and the superintendent a 3% raise and extending their contracts. And in fairness to the public, we really need to, I have no problem with you putting that on the agenda for November, and I can see that it is put there, but I think we have to start following the rules and playing fair with people. Even tonight's agenda, I believe, should have been corrected ahead of time, so people at home that might want to come and talk about ECA or might want to come and talk about hearing officers would be informed. And that's what the FOI law is all about. It's making certain that we properly post things, that we meet in open session and have these discussions. And we're going to not agree at times, and maybe we'll even agree at times, but that's what open meetings are about. So I personally would not support just adding it tonight. I don't know about the rest, so more discussion?
Sure, go ahead.
I think if we're talking about adding things to an agenda, we either add all of them to today's discussion or we table them all until next month. I don't think we should cherry pick. I think it should be all or nothing. So everything that was brought up today should be tabled until next meeting in fairness to both parties and to the general public. Now we know that it will be on next agenda and we can move forward and we can invite the public.
And I'll prepare something for my evaluation, certainly, or to the extent whatever you're going to decide, it gives me an opportunity.
We evaluated you.
No, right, I'm saying.
We completed the evaluation, it's just by contract, we were supposed to finish this by June 30th, and in all fairness to Mr. Williams and to the superintendent, it was supposed to be done by June 30th. We're already 4 months late, and we've had 3 different chairs in 3 different months. You know, and at some point we have
to call a special meeting.
Well, no, if we're gonna table it all till next month, that was a good suggestion.
Fair.
But this is all I'm saying is we need to put all this other garbage that's been going on behind us and move on and do our business that needs to get done.
I agree, and we need to start following the timeline for these things.
Right.
Commenting on your board packets are completed and sent on Friday, the Friday before the Thursday meeting. So if you look at bylaws, it says 72 hours before the one-day posting that all changes should be documented in that agenda.
Right.
So that puts you at Monday of that week. Anything past Monday that comes in is in violation of our bylaws. So it's important that, as you're saying, if we are going to have items that are going to be, we need to respect, one, the 24-hour posting piece, but then the 72 hours that our bylaws say, we have to have that in the agenda and get that out. And I think what you're saying, and I don't want to speak to each other, putting it all out there, it's on there, it's clear. And if you are going to add something to it, and then that makes it easier for on it as well, just getting everything prepared and to you in a timely fashion, so that if you do want to offer a change, it can be on that Friday or Monday where she can get things, uploaded and changed. And that's just for efficiency and for following our own bylaws.
I would just like to say, coming on, It was amazing to me to see all of the changes. Now, in being concerned with the students that are in our town, when I look at all these changes here, it's amazing to me. And I've talked to people with far bigger school systems, and you know, the board chair stepped down and Colby came on. I mean, just the Board of Education alone, the changes were crazy. And then put on top of it the administrators and the directors and all of those changes. I mean, the principal for Alan Davis and moving around of everybody, and the idea at this point, and then Dan Malloy and the budget and all of that, the idea that anyone would think it would be a good idea at this stage of the game not to renew the superintendent's contract, to me, would be clear and obvious, not in the best interest of the school system.
Well, I don't think anyone's talking about that.
I've heard people say, I've heard town council members say, they projected you to be board chair, you are board chair. And then they project, he will no longer be, his contract will not be renewed. I'm just saying, there's hidden agendas out there, and let's be transparent and let's call it like it is. That's all. So I think all these changes need to be noted so that if that.
I don't think hearsay should be noted though. That's hearsay.
No. I'm talking about these changes.
Oh, okay.
These real valid changes
I'm
need to be
not
noted.
really comfortable with you making statements like that in public session. Typically, we discuss personnel issues of that nature, and I know you're brand new, Lynn, but typically that would be discussed in an executive session. And then if you wanted to accuse people of whatever you want to accuse them of, you could do it in executive session and it would stay there. But I think it's very unfair to Scott for you to suggest in public session that he would not be renewed, because first of all, he has a contract that guarantees him rights. He was found to fully fulfill his obligations and his goals for this board before you came on. It was stated in public session he had met his goals. There are steps that would need to be taken if he had not met his goals, and this is public information, where there would need to be some type of intervention or small group, etc., with the board, working with him to make certain that he was making the progress necessary. We are nowhere near any of that happening, and you don't need to worry about someone arbitrarily deciding that someone is here today and gone tomorrow. That doesn't happen. You have to follow the contract, you have to follow procedure, you have to follow the law. So I don't know if that helps with your worries, but in the future, I think we should have this discussion.
I've just been to a lot of town council meetings, and they just throw things out all the time.
We
So
are not, we don't
apologies.
talk about, there are 5 reasons for executive session, and in the packet that I gave you, I think it lists them, and if it doesn't, I will get that for you. There are only 5 reasons for executive session, and one of those is personnel issues, and we tend to discuss personnel issues behind closed doors as we are allowed to by law. That is not being untransparent. That is doing what we're supposed to do. And it protects people's, you don't want to have rumors flying around unnecessarily, or at all, really. So I'll get that for you if I didn't give it to you already. Okay, so I would entertain a motion to withdraw all of the changes to the agenda.
So moved.
Any further discussion, Scott?
Well, I do have handouts. I know we're not going to discuss any of these items tonight, but I would like to at least give you these handouts that I have.
Oh, okay.
Which I think will be helpful to you.
Okay.
And there's one during policy that I will get, I'll discuss when we get to policy.
Okay.
Okay, so there's just 2. One of them was requested at the last board meeting regarding ECA, number of students enrolled, their grades, that the students are enrolled. Okay.
And I can actually report on what I found out under my ECA report, so that isn't violating the agenda.
I did make some calls, and I think, I'll let you go first. It's when George Coleman was the commissioner of education, that's when it became statutory, I think during his tenure as commissioner, that went into effect of providing funding for Rosie City Schools. The second handout is the hearing officer research that was asked of me. It's a historical 7-year. I've also included hourly rates for the 3 firms that we are in contract with. I've also broke down the resume and the information of his hourly rate when he does a hearing for you. Okay?
Thank you.
And that's it.
All right, now back to we had a motion to withdraw the 3 changes to the agenda, but we didn't have a second.
Here we go.
Sean, oh, good, sorry, I missed it. All right, all in favor of withdrawing the 3 amendments to the agenda? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining. Okay, then we will move on to committee reports. And first is negotiations. Marcy, are you?
Well, we're going into executive session.
Okay.
That's the other 3
Right.
AFSCME bargaining units. It's the, should be the secretaries, the cafeteria workers, and the custodians.
Okay. So it's the AFSCME bargaining unit negotiations.
We
And we'll have a
completed the
motion
nurses
later.
last month. We completed the nurses last month. We have these other 3 for this month.
Okay. Under budget and operations, that's awesome, Marcy.
Well, welcome, Mr. Aaron. Thank you for helping us out. 15 days, you've gotten a lot accomplished. There's really not much to report as far as the budget goes at this point in time. It's early on into the school year. Although you've made some contact with DATCO to work on a few things, and you're starting to look at oil and diesel prices for next year.
Yes, and just as I said before, I will, at the next budget meeting, you will get a bullet list of items that where we're going and whether it's special ed, transportation, tuition, and so forth. So I'll have that. Also give you an idea of where we're standing with personnel and what it looks like if we're over on the budget. So we'll do that. We talked about the boiler, which is out to bid, and we have a meeting, a walkthrough on Tuesday. We also are looking at Plan B, just in case, trying to get the boiler in. It's late. We already contacted 2 boiler companies for prices to put in a temporary boiler, just in case, because as you know, the high school has only one boiler going. And we were lucky last year was a warmer winter than anticipated. So we have
Keeping our fingers crossed we can make it another 5-6 weeks.
And then we also we're meeting with the architect to do the overhang at the school, so we're doing that.
Perfect. All right, thank you. Curriculum, instruction, and strategic planning.
That would be me.
Yes.
So in our meeting today, we had a presentation by Dr. Welch, which he shared with all of you. So I want to thank everyone for that presentation. I thought it was really good. It was about the climate, and we dug a little deeper into specifics at each school. We asked the same questions that board members here asked, so we know we're all on the same page about that. The very same questions about response rates between students, staff, and parents, and what we do with those results. So thank you again for that presentation. It was good, and I'm glad to see that we're using that information to make North Branford Public Schools a better place.
Okay, thank you, Diane. Moving on to pension, there was no meeting. And policy, we have some motions coming in for second reads. Scott, did you say you have something for this?
I do for the third motion on 9050.
Okay, so shall we do the first
Yes.
2?
I just have a quick question before we do that. So I saw all the policy, but I just saw the changes. I think moving forward, if you're going to make policy changes, I think somewhere there should be before and after, so everybody is
Right.
aware of what, I mean, one of the policies is 29 pages, and I had to go through to find out what words were different.
Yeah,
So I would appreciate that.
I would like that
Just
too.
a little highlight.
Yeah, and Don usually had that for us with it redlined and all, and that's.
Maybe the policy committee, but I don't think we got it like at the board level.
Oh, okay, so we can
We
make
didn't get
sure,
it at the
because
board
I
level. The
agree.
policy committee
That
might
is
have
part
gotten
of
it.
what I want to happen. I want everyone on this board to have the same information. I don't want anyone, including the chair, to have more information than the rest of the board. So that is a great suggestion. Thank you.
And one other thing, of the 4 motions, are there any of the 4 that are changes due to state statute?
Yes.
The first 2 are.
The first 2?
The first 2 are.
Okay.
And we'll take them one at a time, and then when we get down to the one that Scott has something for us, we'll let him speak. All right, Beth, do you want to?
Okay, so the subcommittee recommends the following policies for approval. Motion to approve policy P 1120, student discipline, suspension, expulsion, due process is submitted at the September 21st, 2017 Board of Ed meeting.
Okay.
Was that your motion?
That's the motion.
Do we have a second? Thank you. Any discussion? And this, as we said just before, is really the result of state statute changes. Okay, then, do we need a roll call vote for this? I think we should, because you may want roll call later on. So we'll do a roll call vote.
Acting Chairman Querfeld,
Yes.
Secretary Sienna,
Yes.
Carolyn Candelora,
Yes.
Marcy Anafrio,
Yes.
Shauna Pepper Holzer,
Yes.
Lynn Reardon,
Yes.
Diane Vumbeck.
Yes.
Okay, Beth.
I'd like to make a motion to approve policy P 1400, bullying and harassment prevention and process as submitted at the September 21st, 2017 Board of Ed meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Again, this is the result of state statute changes. Roll call vote, please.
Acting Chairman Querfeld,
Yes.
Secretary Sienna,
Yes.
Carolyn Candelora,
Yes.
Marcy Anafrio,
Yes.
Shauna Papaholzer,
Yes.
Lynn Reardon,
Yes.
Diane Vumbeck.
Yes.
Okay, then we'll move on, Beth, to
Okay, motion to approve policy P 9050, chair as submitted at the September 21st, 2017 Board of Ed meeting.
and Scott, you said you had something to
You should second,
share.
second it. Should you
Sorry,
second
we got a
it?
second.
Discussion.
We need a second.
I'll second.
Then under discussion, I'll recognize the superintendent first.
Under policy 9050, as you recall, at the last board meeting, there was a great deal of discussion regarding terminology in 9050 and the word will of the board. You all are aware there's been quite a bit of conversation and suggestions about ways to clean these policies up. And per your request, I did meet with Ann Littlefield last week.
Did you?
So she
Thank
came
you.
in, and this went down to the wire. I received her responses today at 3:21, and I think you're going to need some time to digest, but she basically rewrote the entire 9050.
All right, well then we should table, I would recommend tabling this so
So-
we have time for everyone to look at it.
To read it.
Can you forward it to all of us?
I
or-
can. I have
You
it
have it?
here.
Because we had been seeking her advice, and then in the absence of it,
So
we're trying to...
last Tuesday, I sent a reminder to her yesterday that we're meeting, and she did deliver it at 3:21.
All right, great, thank
So-
you. And then I will entertain a motion to table policy 9050 until next month, so that we have time to read in Littlefield's.
And 9110 as well. She marked both under meeting conduct and...
Was she not in on this? Was she not in on the changes?
No, that was the problem. Don was supposed to, on August 24th,
So-
the policy committee asked for Ann Littlefield to define the will of the board so that we would know what was being discussed. And we were unable First she was out of the country, then
Right.
she didn't respond to Colby, or they were playing telephone tag, but I spoke to Colby, or actually wrote to Colby as of a week ago, and Colby shared with me that she had received Attorney Connon's response, but she had not received anything in writing from Ann Littlefield. And that was, that was what prompted the policy committee to try to fix it on their own, so that the chair would no longer have these superpowers to make deals on the side that other people didn't know about, because that seems to be what has gotten us in trouble. And the policy committee, which now is only Beth and me, firmly believe that the chair's vote and powers should not be greater than anyone else sitting on this board. Everyone's vote should be equal. Everyone should know what the chair knows. And so we were determined to do what we could to fix that, so that we can prevent a situation right now where people are questioning our credibility, and yet we have acted under their past practice and the lawyer's advice. So I'm more than delighted that she has.
Now, this was her policy. When you see when it was revised, it was her firm that did it. When she went to access and find, she couldn't find any markups on that. So either when it was revised, it wasn't through her firm. I can't.
Okay.
I can't go back.
All right, well, we'll need time to read
So
this.
she,
Policy will
everything
need
has
to
been
meet.
struck, everything is from the template from.
And I can assure you, in the meantime, this chair will not be signing anything that no one else has voted on. So you don't.
Well, I think it needs to change for sure, and I'm grateful for this to be able to look at this, because even the changes that were being put forward, I just don't think were clear enough. I don't think it was enough. So I'm really, really happy that there's more.
Well, when we'll look at it, and if we decide it meets our needs, then we can move forward, and if not, we can have her come and help us to tighten it up if need be. But this is good news.
There's clarity, for every line, there's her explanation.
Okay, great.
And then the second one is the template that they recommend. So
Okay,
so
well,
you
this
have
is
all
good
that.
news. I think we have a motion to table this.
I made a motion.
And we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so anyone else have any comments before we vote?
Are you tabling both?
Yes.
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 I haven't heard,
90-50 and 90.
Yeah, I said to table both.
91-10.
did you in
I
your
did say
motion?
to table both in my motion.
Okay. Well, and the other one for the people watching from home and the people in the audience, the other policy simply was changing the amount of public speaking time from 2 minutes to 3 minutes, because we felt 2 minutes was really not sufficient. But in the absence of a huge crowd, we're not really going to enforce our time limit at this point. Anyway, unless it becomes,
I don't know.
There were some other subtle changes mathematically with.
Well, yeah, policy's a policy. We gotta
Well,
follow the rules, rule follower.
Yeah, but we haven't been, we only really enforced the 2
That's
minute
the
rule
whole point.
when
That's the
I
whole
was
point. We
speaking,
haven't been following the
so.
rules, and you said we're gonna follow the rules. You can't
All right,
put
so
rules
tonight
and
we'll
change.
keep to the 2 minute rule then, but,
So, and you'll see in her recommendations that mathematically they align with, before it was 20 total minutes at 2 minutes per. If we go to 3 minutes, we should go to 21 minutes.
oh,
That makes sense,
Collectively,
yeah.
which
That makes
So
sense.
it's minor, but I just want to.
well, thank you for tracking her down.
Yes.
All right, so all in favor of withdrawing, or actually tabling until, I'm trying to think, I don't even know if you want to table it just till next month. Policy will need to meet, we'll need another first read. So, all right, maybe a first read in November, so we'll table it at least for.
Quick
at
question,
this
shouldn't
time.
there be somebody from both sides, like on a policy committee, you know what I'm saying? Like-
We'll do that next
Well, I
month.
think, Lynn, yeah,
We should do that next
one of the things we're going to do is ask, I was going to ask under the good of the board for people to forward to me their interest in committees, because next month when we have our official board, we will then have people put on the committees. And it's always good to have people have some say in what committees they want to be on. But the way Chairman Dahlmeyer chose people last time. He ended up putting Colby, Beth, and me all on policy.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with when it meets, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that has a
Yeah,
lot
so-
to do with what policy.
But we've also had all of the, I mean, basically, Lynn, you're going to find that we are not a partisan board. We're here for the kids. So it's not where you may have been more familiar with town council, where it's very political. This really shouldn't be. It's political in that you've got members of both parties, but when it comes to decisions, it shouldn't be, but we can talk about that and think about what committees you want to be on. All right, so.
But I think it does really make a difference when they meet, you know, because you,
Yeah, it
what time are you meeting for policy? Were you still doing 7:30 in the morning?
No.
No, we do it
afternoons
usually
now?
at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock.
Yeah, they're
4 o'clock in
Because
the
for a while they were
afternoon.
7:30 in the morning.
That's changed.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah, because I
Practice
agree,
for
I
people.
do,
I mean,
I totally agree, there should be bipartisan membership on every committee.
Working in a hospital, there's tons of policies and procedures to follow, and those things protect everyone. They
Well-
protect us, they protect our patients, they protect everybody. So I am a firm believer in very clear policies, not ones left to interpretation, not throwing in extra words that really don't make sense, very clear and precise. And so that's something I would be interested in, but again, it does depend on the time that you meet.
But I do think with that in mind, every attempt should be made to make certain that there are members of both political parties on every subcommittee. That makes very good sense. Okay, so now back to the vote. Mary, roll call, please.
Acting Chair Querfeld,
Yes.
Secretary Sienna,
Yes.
Carolyn Candelora, Marcy Anafrio,
yes.
Shauna Papahalter, Lynn Reardon,
Yes.
Diane Von Beck.
Yes.
Okay. ACES report. Good news from ACES is whereas last year, or last month, you can see it seems like it's been a long time, they were 1.4 million in the hole when they started their fiscal year. This month, they were only 740,000 in the hole, so things are looking up. They are in much better shape than they had been the year before. In other news, the executive director proposed a general bonding resolution, which, if it had passed, would have made North Branford, as well as the other member towns, responsible for the 19 million that they were going to bond. So that has been totally revised, and actually I'll bring in the revision and share it with Mr. Aaron so he can take a look at it. But what we did as a regional governing board is we made them take out the ability to charge North Branford and the other towns for any of this $19 million that they want to bond for their Leader Hill ACES project. And we also, sort of in keeping with what we're looking at doing here, we also added that, and it hasn't passed yet, we're still working on it, which is why he's going to take a look and make certain it looks safe and not costly. But they also added that the chair, the vice chair, and members of the executive board had to agree, and then the people in those positions said, and I'm the vice chair there, so we will not authorize the bonding resolution without a full board vote. You know, because it affects too many towns, and we really have to make certain that it's done fairly. In other news, I checked on the ECA ability to charge tuition. They have a program in place where if a town has, say, 8 spots or 10 spots, and you have 12 kids who qualify to go there, the town can use a lottery and the kids that may be freshmen coming in that still have qualified but are not successful in getting funding from the town can pay tuition themselves, with the idea that as people leave, you would then pick up their cost. Now, the other thing that we've done here before, and we need to look into, because ACES did not talk about any partial payments, but I believe in the past in North Branford, and Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, North Branford would pay part of it, and the parents would pay part of it for all the students. So I don't know. This is a discussion we will have later on, but the good news is that we have, I believe, 3 seniors, and we do have the ability, if we have, say we have extraordinarily talented children that really want to go to ACES, and yet because of the state budget situation or local situations, we can't afford to send that many children, we still will have the capacity to let our children experience this. Because not only, we talked about the cultural aspects last time, but they also bring in visiting professors from Wesleyan and Yale and all sorts of wonderful opportunities for the children. So it's where we do have creative writing here, we do have a music program here and all of that. It's really at a very high level. So I
have a question. I'm
Sure.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off at all. I was thinking, and I don't think we've asked this information before, and if we do, maybe let it resurface. No, I'm just curious, is there anywhere where we could see how many students surrounding towns are sending?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, we can
I think that might be important to look at too, and determine their pay schedule. I'll share information that I found, but it won't be from the same region or
I can be.
Yeah.
Similar, we don't go by herbs.
Exactly.
We
and
can't
I
go
go
by
by
herbs, that's for sure.
So
and I can probably get us a
that
big
just might help
spreadsheet.
us look
I
at
think
it.
it will,
that
so
we're
that
out
we know
of-
what is
yeah.
fair. But I was very excited because it gave us an opportunity not to limit opportunities for our children. So we'll bring that up next month when it's on the agenda.
Yeah. And do you think by any chance we could get that information before next month, like
Absolutely.
emailed, so that can help me
I
just?
have to ACES today, to a number of them regarding this, because I had a feeling that this was going to rise to this level. So
Right.
I'll go and meet with Tom
Right.
at the location.
And they'll be very helpful. Also, Tim told me that they have, for the people that are paying, parents that are paying, they have payment plans that do twice a year, once a year, 3 times a year. So they do the billing themselves. We don't have to bill. So
That's
it's just good to know.
Takes us out of the equation, that part.
All right. That concludes that. All right, building committee. No building committee anymore.
I'm not even commenting.
You're not even commenting.
not
You're
on that
still on it.
committee.
You're still on it, Diane. I think you're on it until
We have
next
new
month.
members.
All right, and
No
then communication. Was there any meeting with
No,
the?
there was not, sorry, I'm spacing out, no meeting.
Okay, then we will, under new business, actually, you know what, usually we modify the agenda, and we go to good of the board and visitors and press. So we'll go first to good of the board.
I'd like to say something. Since our last meeting, Kobe resigned, and I would like to thank her for having been on the board and to fill in after Phil left. And after Carter's nice little presentation, I hope that we move toward a more positive climate, because Kobe stated that she was or felt that she was harassed and bullied. Me too. So I hope that we can model a little bit more positive climate here.
I agree. Me too. I agree. So I feel the same way. So we should move to change.
Yeah, we do need to change the climate and make certain there are not personal attacks, not personal reprimands being sent to people because they choose to speak out and say something that maybe other people don't agree with. Healthy discussion and disagreement is fine, but we do need to be civilized and make certain that.
And I want to also say, because I agree exactly with what you were saying earlier, Sarah, about we can't use television to say things that we know is not right. You know, I think it's important to, we may make a mistake, and I get that, but to knowingly put stuff out there that's not true without somebody being able to speak on their behalf. So that's something I think we all need to work on.
One of the reasons we have boards of ed in Connecticut is because the powers that be understand that the superintendent needs to be protected from the vagaries of politics, because every 2 years or every 4 years in any given town in the state, your political powers are changing. And our job as a board is to run political interference for our superintendent so that he can focus on the education of our children and what's good for the district. And that is our job. And all of us are responsible for doing that. Okay, oh, go ahead, Beth.
I'd just like to say I'm glad that Tuckahoe TV is here because they are now just running the August meetings of the board. So I'm glad that we might have our meetings be put out there a little bit sooner for the townspeople to see. And as a, just have to say this, as a former teacher of North Branford, who've had people say we shouldn't teach spelling. If you looked at the first 817, meeting was spelled METTING. And for those who think that kids don't need to know how to spell because they're spell checked, no, they need to know how to spell. It was corrected on the 831.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make it.
Same people that do our sign.
Let's the entrance sign.
So there's there's two events that are coming up that I'm pretty excited for. I can't wait to see all the teachers out on the football field for raising money for Love for Lila scholarship on 10/21 this Saturday coming up. So add those. That's all I can say. And then community roundup to benefit the food pantry of North Branford is Saturday the 28th, 10/28. So
that's always a wonderful day.
Are there bags out front?
Are there?
There's no bags.
In the office.
Okay, there's bags in the office to kick off community roundup, Mr. O'Rourke. They were supposed to be out here, but
And
I
anyone,
guess.
if you can't make a Saturday, you want to drop things here, we'll make sure it gets down there.
Yeah, Marcy looked like Santa Claus coming in with all the food for it.
But there's still
I happened to be there. She had
things up in there.
So there's like bags
Because they're in the
and I
office.
forgot mine, but I will have it on the 28th. Anything else for the good of the board? Okay, I have two things that I would request. One is that we schedule, I know it gets busy in November, but December will be impossible, but I think we are in desperate need of one, a workshop with the lawyer, and two, FOI training for the board.
I'm just going to speak because in my short little time
you did
here,
this. You did this, good.
I have the name of the person who will be coming in with FOI. We have to pick on a time, and I have it in my notebook.
Perfect.
And the, what is it?
Is it Hennick? Yes.
Hennick, that's it, yes.
Hennick.
Tom Hennick. I think it's HENNICK. And the attorney also agreed to come in and meet with us.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to do that the same time, or you want to?
Well, I thought it should be
Yeah.
a discussion amongst the board and.
Okay. Okay, good. Good, so.
Well, the only problem is, will we be able to get?
You probably can't. You probably
Well,
have
if
to
the
do
attorney,
it.
well, if
Meeting.
It would depend if he was.
Or a
You
workshop.
might. I don't know if you'd have different issues, and you'd want it separately. I don't know.
I don't know.
What are you people thinking? We're in desperate need of both.
So you're saying prior to the November 16th meeting?
Well, as soon as possible.
If we could, at least one.
Two dates, if you don't want to mix and match, then
Or do
That
them
was the
back to
plan.
back.
Diane, are you in contact and are you aligning and?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
what's
I can,
going
you know, I don't work, so it's probably, and she's extremely busy, so I have no problem contacting Mr. Hennick.
So we have a good day.
Yeah, we just may want to wait until after the election. That was
Okay.
my conversation with the
should we
attorney
wait-
to
Well,
agree.
should we wait till we make certain the board is intact?
Yeah, that's what I said, like
Yeah.
after the election.
Yeah,
Okay,
is
so
what
we
my
should,
goal was.
yeah,
okay.
okay. Hearing nothing further for good of the board, we'll move on to visitors and press.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, 1 minute, what was
Yeah,
that one?
it's not just after the election, because I'm the only wild card here.
Okay, so
I'm
what's the
going to need to go
situation?
before the town council again on the 14th.
All right, so it'd have to be after the 14th then.
And before the 16th.
No.
No, that's not going to work. Let's just
Because-
wait,
Well, our
let's
town
just,
charter reads one thing, but the state,
let's get
Wait
some
time.
dates, we'll get some dates for late November, early December for both of them so that we can schedule this. And now I'll go back to visitors and press, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Roseanne Maloney. I just wanted to piggyback on what Lynn Reardon said about the staff football game on Saturday night. This was put together by Amanda Basil, who was a special ed teacher at TBS, and this is her second year teaching in the district. And she put this staff flag football together as a benefit for the Love for Lives scholarship that has been established by the Bogardus family. And it truly is going to be a family event. It'll be TDS and Jerome Harrison staff against the middle school and high school staff. Amanda Basil does have connections with football teams, so it will be the football coaches that will be repping the high school football team, are the chain gangs on the side. There is face painting for the kids. There's going to be a kids obstacle course at halftime. The concession stand will be open. There will be a bake sale. There is admission. It's $5 for adults, $3 for children, and all the money raised is all going to the scholarship.
And what time is it?
It starts at 6 o'clock, is the game. Players have to be there 5. They all got the rules. It's going to be 7-on-7 instead of 11, just so that they can have some offense and defense. So it should be a very great night. The weather's supposed to be great on Saturday, so we hope to see a lot of the community out there to support this event.
The helmets and padding will be provided by the school.
It's flag. It's flag football, and there's very specific.
Are they using, yeah, they're not, okay.
Yeah, they're not.
I was just thinking of.
No. And they've all been
Back to
told
our
there's no
teachers.
more plans.
Okay.
They're signing waivers.
Yeah, there's a waiver, so it's all good, but I just want to, salute Amanda Basil, for putting this all together and, for this event, for, the scholarship for that.
Any other visitors and press? Yes.
Hi, my name is Sue Brill. I'd like to speak with you about ECA. I spoke to you last month about ECA. My daughter is currently enrolled in the program there. It's a wonderful program. I would encourage you all to educate yourselves on the merit of this program. And when you do plan to take your vote, we're disappointed you didn't get to it tonight. I got a lot of people here. I would really encourage you to allow all the students who are in the program to continue. I mean, you would be breaking faith with them if we tell them they cannot come back.
No, I'm not supposed to respond, but I will because I think I caused some of the angst at the last meeting when I was more concerned with what Governor Malloy was doing with the $5 million cut than anything else. There was, as the superintendent said, there was no intent for any student currently enrolled to not be allowed to continue.
Well, then you just lessen my stress level.
Well, I feel bad for making it, for hiking it.
I have been so stressed out over this for, I don't know how many months,
Yeah,
a number of times.
No, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
But really, now I'm going to advocate for the kids coming up. It's a great program. My daughter was so excited when she finally got her opportunity to apply, and you really need to allow the younger kids in the 8th grade, and even the high school kids that want to have the opportunity to attend. Maybe they didn't get in last year. I mean, I know some friends of my daughters who were very talented that did not get in. And they're amazing, amazing musicians and athletes and writers. And, they are competitive. I know someone kind of implied last month that they're just going to take kids for the money. And that's not how it works. It's
No, it's
competitive. environment, and you have to work hard to be there. And you have to maintain good grades in North Branford High School to stay there as well. And all these kids do, and just please support the program. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other visitors and press?
This is my third time coming to this board meetings, and I've addressed my concern at least 3 times now. I've addressed it prior to that to Mr. Schumacher, and the problem that I have with it is that there is no action on my issue that I have as far as the bus stop for my son for the late bus. Now, I'd like to know if I'm wasting my time coming to these meetings, or if there's going to, or what, can somebody explain to me what the process is?
Well, I'm sorry to say that under visitors and press, we really are not supposed to interact. I broke the rules in reassuring the mother about ECA.
I'm aware of that because last time I bled my heart out to you people, and it was a wall of silence. Now,
That's
you allot me a 2 or a 3 minute time to plead my case, and then a month goes by, nothing happens. Okay, the second time the same thing happens. Mr. Schumacher sends me an email that he already sent me. I already had the email, and I also stated that the only thing that you stated as a reason was distance. Now, a third of a mile was the reason why you said that it was justified. You had no other justification. People I've spoke to at the state have plenty of other reasons that go into determining bus stops,
Right,
safety.
sir, this
Tonight's
is
the theme is safety.
right. I don't
Does that
cut
also
you
include
short,
bus stops?
but this is not a transportation hearing. And
Just
what
tell
you're-
me, am I wasting my time? Yes or no? And I will, because you want to be here for the kids. You want to encourage me. I mean, I get frustrated. I have other options. I can take my kid out of school and I can go to a school where it was actually cared for. But to come here and have nobody, I mean, I gave you paperwork that got lost, and I come to the meetings and nobody cares about anything that I have. Is there anybody that's an advocate for the students? The process that I see it as I spoke to Mr. Davis, I spoke to Mr. O'Rourke. They said that they are powerless in this decision, that it comes to
All right, it
Mr.
goes
Schumacher.
to central office, and if you disagree with what central office has done, there are provisions to do transportation hearings. But this is not the place for it.
Explain me the process so that I can get an action
You will
done.
need to call Mr. Schoonmaker's office tomorrow, and they will give
he
you
shut me
all
off.
the
I'm telling you that
information
he shut me
needed.
off, and he pushes it under the table. There's a pattern with him that I've had in other instances.
Call you out of order because
Call me out of order, but it's disrespectful to waste my time, and as time goes on.
you're not listening. I need you to listen to me.
All I've
This
done
is
is
not the place for what you're doing right now. He has dealt with the case. You need to do what you intend to do. There are provisions for transportation hearings. They had transportation hearings not a month ago. But this is not the place, so we cannot do anything to help you. And we're going to move on now.
So then
to other-
my only option is to go to Mr. Schumacher, where everything begins and ends, and it was his decision, that's it. He's the
You're not-
the
I don't
despot,
think
and he
you're
can make
hearing
whatever
me.
he wants, what he does is appropriate. And you wash your hands of it and you're okay, right?
I am telling you that this board can do nothing to help you with the situation that you come here.
Then why
every
do you
month
just
to
waste
tell
my
us.
time? Why don't you express that to me?
This is not the forum, and we need to stop this. There is supposed to be no comment from the board. There's not supposed to be an exception, not for one, not for two. You need to get a transportation hearing, you could follow the statute and proceed from there.
Then have the
We
decency
cannot-
to give me
we
the
cannot
information.
answer
When
from
there is
anyone,
a,
and
when
we
is
want
there
to
a
do so.
transportation
All right.
hearing? When is there a transportation hearing?
Do you know when the transportation?
Does anybody even care to even say that? You
We'll
knew
talk
this
to
all
you.
along. You knew this all along as I come here, and then you just, oh, whatever, you know, maybe he won't show up next meeting. I'll keep coming until I get my problem resolved, okay? Have the decency and say, hey, we meet on this date,
I'll
you
make
should
a
go to
motion
that
to go
meeting.
into executive session.
Go to your executive sessions, run away, thank you for wasting my time.
All right, we need a motion.
I made a motion to go to executive session.
We have to read it.
To read the whole thing.
Yeah, I'll read it. Marcy made a motion to adjourn to executive session for section 1-225 of the Connecticut General Statutes as permitted by section 1-200, 6A and E of the Connecticut General Statutes to discuss agenda item 7C, leave request, and item 9A, negotiations, AFSCME bargaining unit negotiations.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Somebody second.
Shauna.
Okay.
Marcy first and
And then Shauna. And then we need, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Bring more cookies, right?
Okay.
Bring more cookies.
Then we will adjourn to executive session.
Sarah.